The second part of this satsang, unfortunately, the recording didn't come out right. So instead of trying to fix it, which is very difficult, I'm going to re-record each one of the topics that I discussed that day with the students that were present in the room. So everything that comes after the segment number 6 pertains the surrendering technique. And I'm going to present the subject gradually, introducing it step by step. So expect short videos that will bring you very gradually into the complete understanding and practical application of the surrendering technique. The first subject that we will discuss today pertains basically what is the history of this technique, how did it come about, and how I learned about it. I think it's worthwhile to explain this because you may feel identified with the situation that led me to encounter this technique. Around 2012, after a long journey of about 30-something years, the first serious awakening into our true nature happened in this mind-body organism. That awakening is called awakening because you wake up from a dream. The dream is the dream of the I, the dream of the me, the dream of the ego. During the awakening, you realize that actually the I is mental, that is not an entity or a separate consciousness that is inside this mind-body organism that is called Gian in this case. That is part of the story also, and that actually is just a bunch of thoughts and ideas and beliefs and feelings. It's mind stuff. That realization leads also to the realization that actually the life that is inside the mind-body system is the one life or the universal consciousness that is present in all beings. So awakening had happened in 2012, but some disconcerting aspect of awakening is that you expect, that after so much work you will wake up to your true nature and you will be free, but it's not true. You are freer, but you're not free, meaning something very significant has happened, a milestone has been reached. You are much happier, but total freedom is not available yet, and there is work to do. And that work consists of embodying the awakening. It means to really bring awakening to the revelation that has happened to all the different parts of your being, your feelings, your thoughts, the way you relate to others. And removing, to that objective, you need to remove stuff that is in the mind-body system that has been there for ages, at least during decades during this incarnation, right? So the work that comes after awakening, it's kind of mysterious in the sense that there is not that much information on how to do that part of the journey without going back towards the non-awakened state, where you are concerned about fixing yourself, improving yourself, which obviously is based on the fantasy that there is a little self there that needs to be improved. What you are really doesn't need improvement, it's complete. But at the same time, the mind-body organism has stuff and needs to be released. So after a few years dealing with this, because the embodiment process is long, after a few years I was still a bit confused about how to do that. I have understood many things, and I was working already diligently in the embodiment, but still it was not there was no total clarity about how to go through this process, and I wanted to find something practical, simple to do this effectively. So spontaneously arose here, you could call it a prayer or a desire, a request to the divine for help to find something that could really work. And it came. It came in the form of the surrendering technique. At that time I was living in Los Angeles, in Glendale specifically, and I moved to live with a friend that he had a room for rent. And when I arrived to his apartment, he had another room, and there was another individual there that I had never met. But as I came to interact with him, I noticed that he was always in bliss. So I was curious, and I asked him, "What are you doing? What type of smoke are you getting?" So he said to me that he had had an awakening, a Kundalini rising, very powerful, and he had realized his true nature, but he needed to do work in himself, in his mind-body systems. Same thing, he was into the embodiment process, but he had received a technique telepathically from who knows what, an archangel or something like that. I think he said archangel, Saint Germain, something like that. And then, because he was in a very different path, he was not actually in the Advaita path, but his awakening was very true and very real. So in this download that he got, he got this surrendering technique, and he explained it to me how it works, why it works, and how to put it into practice. So I began to use it. And not long after obtaining some results in myself, I have to say, I had a client that he was living in another city, and we were having phone sessions. And this client or student, he had a very, very difficult childhood with a lot of trauma. And he was extremely angry, and I haven't been able to help him much. So I decided to try with him the surrendering technique. And during that session, he had several Kundalini risings during the session, awakenings, and he was much more free at the end of just 1 hour of work or a little bit more. The impact of something so simple, such a simple technique, that had on him was so profound He couldn't believe it. So he solved issues that in no other way I could have helped him. So I shared this with my friend, and he told me that at that time he was also seeing clients on the phone, but he was using a different technique. And he decided to begin to use the surrendering technique. And he kept using it for years. I think he probably still using it. And he got amazing results with his own clients. And I continue to get amazing results even today. And the results in this mind-body organism, same thing. They have been very, very encouraging. So what I'm going to share with you is really invaluable. The surrendering technique is very, very simple. And it works because of fundamentally two principles that I'm going to explain during the next video that you will receive tomorrow. So I hope this is a good introduction for you to understand how valuable is what you are going to receive. And stay tuned. Watch the next videos. There will be a series of about 8 videos, one after another. You will receive one per day. Keep watching them. They are short and easy to understand.